If science concept, the theory is correct, then it should be simple enough, that a 7-year-old should understand. If science concept or theory is correct, then it should be simple enough that a 7-year-old should understand it. I think that there's, incredible complexity in our world, and we can see that in our environment all around. But I think that at the foundation of the universal creation structure, there is simple and beautiful principles that anybody can understand. It's equations that are attempting to unify physics, and as a result, it unifies everything. Space, the vacuum, the space between things, the space between planets and stars and galaxies, or the space between atoms in a molecule, or the space inside the atom, which is 99.99999% space, is not empty. It's full. We're bathing in a fundamental energy that's at the source of all of creation. And actually, this was known by many ancient civilizations all around the world in earlier time, and then was kind of lost through the advancements of physics. And I think we're coming back to it now, realizing that in quantum theory it's called vacuum fluctuations. And when they were discovered, when we tried to analyze how much of these fluctuations, how much energy there was in the space inside the atom, we found that it was infinitely dense with energy, that the vacuum, that space inside the atom is not empty at all, but full of energy. Right around us right now, there's all sorts of, microwaves and radio waves and all this stuff, and we think there's nothing, until we take a radio station, for instance, and tune it in, and then we hear a voice, and we realize, yes, there's, radio waves going around, and so on. It's a little bit like that. We look at the vacuum, we look at space, and we think it's empty. But in it, embedded in it, is this incredible energy that my theories are starting to show is actually the source of everything, the source of all the material world, which is mostly space. When we're talking about this stuff, all of our material, we're made out of 99.99999% space, and that space is full of all this information. And it is the medium that connects all things. All the other protons in the universe, all the other atoms in the universe are holographically expressed within one proton, showing that it's all interconnected. Look at all the great masters that walked the earth and tried to teach us new ways of being and expand our mind and expand our consciousness. They all talked about turning inwards. It has always been there in so many ancient traditions. Now we've got the yardstick, now we've got the measuring scale, so that we can understand the whole thing, because this realization that we're actually bathing in a field that connects all things, and it's holographic and fractal in nature. So from analyzing a piece appropriately, we can understand the whole. Now if you start to understand that there is an energy available everywhere that makes everything we see, now all you got to do is understand how that energy works, and then reproduce that in laboratory, and all of a sudden you would have access to an incredible amount of energy. If you were to take all the stars in the universe, there's billions of stars in all galaxies, and there's billions of galaxies, and you took them all, like every atom in the universe, and squished them all into a centimeter cube of space. Can you imagine how dense that would be, right? Well, that would be about 10 to the 55th grams per centimeter cube. You'd still need to add 39 zeros to that density before you reach the density of the vacuum, the incredible amount of energy that's present. So imagine that we tap 1/10 of 1/10000000th of a percent of what's there. We would have enough energy to run the whole planet for thousands and thousands of years. So we're talking, you know, an incredible source. And not only would we not be depleted because it's a huge source, but because when you use it, it radiates back into the vacuum. If it's correct, and as I'm showing in my equation, you should be able to create gravitational field. So now we're talking space drives, we're talking wormhole capability, we're talking traveling across the universe. I mean, a whole new world becomes available to us. There's a lot of evidence that there was something very powerful, very advanced going on our planet very, very long time ago, and that we lost that knowledge. Researchers have come to conclude that there's this energy and that there must be ways to tap into it, and investigate it, and got some success in some case to do so. However, our society was not ready. Our society was not in the appropriate place to be able to handle that. There was not really any reason to think that we needed to find new source of energy. We had petrol, you know, and oil, and, you know, at the time it was thought that we were most likely never going to run out, you know, and so on. So in general, there was no tension, the tension necessary to make that happen. However, now is a completely different scenario. You know, the world is awakening. You know, look at all the manifestations that are going around the world. People are tired of this oppressive structure that we've constructed for ourselves. And they're wanting the change to happen. And part of that is bringing this new technology, this new understanding, and this new power into the world. And it's an exciting moment. And it can be, we can have some birthing pains, you know, with it. You know, a new being, a new society is trying to emerge. So it can be a little difficult at first, but I think we have a beautiful future. Governments in general have enormous budget for a black budget organization and so on. So yeah, they have a lot of that. However, do they have the consciousness to be able to understand the universe at that level? You know, it is another question. When we reach that level, you know, unification is a direct consequences of the mathematics and the theory that you're writing and all this. And so a person that reached that level is gonna have a tendency to become humanitarian automatically, and if they don't, they're most likely not gonna discover this. And it doesn't really matter how many billions of dollars they have in their laboratory. And have they approached me? Yes, I've been approached, you know, throughout the years, discreetly, in different ways, by different organizations. You know, I'm for the people, with the people. I'm doing this to deliver it to humanity, and this is my dharma, and I'm not in any way gonna be able to deviate from that. I just want to mention that I believe that everybody is a genius. Every baby born is a genius. It's just, you know, society and the trauma that children go through typically within even the first minutes of their birth is so traumatic that maybe veils come down. I think the heart is the link, you know, I mean, we'll call it the cosmic heart, you know, not necessarily the physical heart, although the physical heart is related to it. It's the largest electromagnetic field in the body, much larger than the brain, and so on. And it's constantly disregarded in terms of what actually it does, other than pumping blood. But in the theory I'm talking about, consciousness is not an epiphenomenon of the brain. You know, it's not happening in the brain. Looking in the brain to look for consciousness is equivalent, as far as I'm concerned, to opening a radio set, digging into the, you know, transistors and everything to try to find the announcer. You're not gonna find the announcer in there. He's not in there, right? It's just a telephone. It's just, you know, a little resonance device that's capturing information. And so consciousness in this view is in the vacuum, is in the structure of space. It's in the space. It's in the 99.99999% of you, which is space. And the brain is just the telephone. It's just tuned in to frequencies that are specific to you and that are downloading very specific information that is you. And so that really, you know, changes the picture. And so when you think of the heart, you can think of maybe the point of singularity, the link that connects the information of the vacuum to the body. That link is the source of your existence.